I think about that to this day, and it makes me sick to my stomach. I still remember missing my son's first home run. Bro, the ceiling was falling down. Like this plane was literally put together by freaking spit. I am sorry, man. You could talk about Rock, you could talk about Austin. Hulk Hogan put professional wrestling on the map. He made it cool.
Back in the day, like, remember when TV ratings were big and the live events were hot and TVs, you would get to a city and say, damn, this is really working. I mean, the attendance is there. How did that make you feel that you were a big part of all that happening?
Tommy, I got to tell you, bro, we never stopped for a second to smell the roses. I swear to God. And Coach, you know, people don't understand when I tell them this. You know, again, bro, yeah, Vince makes things up. Bro, WrestleMania was just another show.
Yes.
It was just another show. You're writing a television show every single week and a pay-per-view. It's just another show. I swear to God, Tommy, I did not realize how big this thing was. I'll tell you what happened, bro. Coach, I was able to get like a day off to bring my family to Universal Studios. Okay, one day. My kids are very young. I swear to you, bro, we go to Universal Studios, Tommy. Coach, every other person is wearing an Austin 316 shirt. And I saw this with my own eyes. And at that point, I realized, bro, this is freaking huge. I didn't realize it until I saw that, because you guys know you're so wrapped up in the day-to-day. You don't have time to, bro, like people ask me all the time, well, how was it like when you finally beat WCW in the ratings? And I'm like, bro, we got next week's show to write.
That's right.
How was it like? It was like nothing. We didn't celebrate it. There wasn't even a conversation. We're writing next week's show.
Vince, remember this? This is a perfect example of what you're talking about. I used to feel awful for the guys who would be in the main event at WrestleMania, because there's a party back at the hotel, and those guys wouldn't even walk in till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. They couldn't even do anything because Monday Night Raw is 15 hours from now, 18 hours from now. And I always said to myself, how in the world are, after the Super Bowl, can you imagine the Chiefs and 49ers playing the next week? I mean, it made no sense
the next
to me.
week, the next night. The next night.
Yeah. I mean, I never could believe it. And having the PAs, and no disrespect to them, but the people who made the least amount of money got to party the hardest to celebrate the year. And that never made any sense to me. I felt bad for those guys. They made a lot of money, but as we know, you can only count your money for so long. It's got to be about purpose. And about celebrating what you put your hard-earned,
and that is, like, people ask me all the time, Vince, do you regret going to WC? Absolutely not. Like I said, when Vince said that to me, it was game over. I don't regret it for a second. Here's what I regret. This is the one thing I regret, and I have a feeling that you two may be on the same page with me, bro. When I was working for the WWE, not WCW, because I had smartened up by then. When I was working for WWE, I clearly put my family on the back burner. Without a shadow of a doubt, my job was more important to me than my family. Bro, I think about that to this day, and it makes me sick to my stomach. I can't take it back. The stuff that I missed for a guy that didn't appreciate any of it. That Coach is my biggest regret.
You know what? You're absolutely right, Vince.
Yeah, me too.
When we had remember when the company didn't have that much money, you had the Saturday stay over. I had to leave in the middle of the summer, my kids' Little League game in the third inning, to go to Arkansas or something like that, and sit there in a hotel room while all these mothers and fathers there are watching their kids play. And I had to leave by the third inning to get to the airport. You want to talk about dedication, man? Meanwhile, the boss flies on a charter jet on the day of the show. So, like, It's incredible what we put into this company.
Tommy, what about this? This was the worst thing for me. Yeah, Tommy, I still what you say. I still remember missing my son's first home run when he was about 10. I still remember that. But Tommy, this had to be the worst for me. And Coach, I don't think you are a part of this. Tommy, what about on a Saturday having to drive into Manhattan for Saturday night shotgun? And then, Coach, and then it would be shot at like 10 o'clock at night. You're driving home from Manhattan at 1, 2 in the freaking morning.
Yep.
We did everything, all of us, the three of us, everything ever asked of us. For what? For you to get beat up by The Undertaker and Batista? For what, Coach?
Right.
I remember after you left, and I think we could probably label our careers regret, because as much as we got out of it, it does, and you can't get those years back. You can't get that time back. And I remember the writers after you left, and it may have been the same when you were there, but I was buddies with a couple of them, and most of them never stuck around for longer than 3 or 6 months because they just couldn't take it. They would write all week, and then on Saturday have to be on a conference call for 6 or 8 hours, and then Vince would rip up the show, and then Monday morning, let's start from scratch, and then you just wasted 6 days of your life. And again, for what? For what? I've never told this story before, and I'm going to tell it right now because you guys understand this. On a Saturday night, and I don't remember the year, 2001. You guys remember Oklahoma State, and they had the plane crash in Colorado.
Yep.
So one of my best friends from college had left college where I went, McPherson College, and gone to be a manager at Oklahoma State because he was promised by Eddie Sutton that he would be a coach after he graduated. So we used to go to games all the time. It was awesome. Big country Bryant Reeves back in the day. And so it's a Saturday night. I'm at WWE, and I get a call from a buddy, said, turn on the TV. And that plane had gone down. And my buddy had told me many, many times, I'm the low man on the totem pole. I fly on this plane. It's an old plane. They won't replace it. And the good planes are for the stars and for Eddie Sutton. And that was the plane that eventually went down. And he was on the plane. And so I was told that since he wasn't family and he wasn't a brother, that I wasn't allowed to go to the funeral. So my dad, who's a United Methodist pastor, went to the funeral in Oklahoma. I went to Raw. I went to SmackDown. To this day, family won't talk to me. His older brother, who I played 3 years of college basketball with, I went back to a golf tournament they named after him after like 6 or 7 years. The reason I couldn't go back is WWE. So I finally show up, and in front of all these people, his brother, who is still hurting, clearly grieving and hurting his brother's death, just calls me out in front of everybody at this golf tournament named for his brother. Oh, the superstar's here. Oh, the superstar has the time. And they had no clue of why I didn't show up. So to this day, you talk about regret. I lost family, friends over that stuff. That's my biggest regret.
Tommy, I can remember this, and I don't know if you were on this flight. Bro, Coach, you guys knew we flew everywhere. There was no commercial. I never flew. I never flew first class ever. I was always in coach, always. But I swear to God, Tommy, there was one time, bro, where we had to get from like small town A to small town B. Coach, we got in this plane that looked like it was right out of Indiana Jones. Oh, bro, geez. The ceiling was falling down. Like this plane was literally put together by freaking spit. And it was so, and bro, the whole crew, not talent, the whole crew is on that plane. And bro, every turbulence, we all thought, I am not kidding you, Tommy, we all thought we were going to die. Every single one of us was sitting on that plane, dead silent, just praying that the plane would land. Well, Tommy, were you on that?
I was on. I remember, you know what that was, Vince? That was an old Army plane. and we hit the storm and turbulence, and Marty Miller was busting my chops because I hated to fly. I really did.
I did too.
And he said, "Oh man, this plane's going down, Carlucci, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Go to hell, Marty." So he's behind me, and then the stewardess is behind us. It's almost, she took the position, Vince. She put her head between. I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I put my headset on, put the music on. I'm like, "I don't want to know." And Marty is shitting his pants in the back. I couldn't believe it. But I remember that, Vince.
Yeah,
I remember that flight.
Can you imagine putting people on a plane like can you imagine that, Coach? You own your own company, Tommy. Yeah, I mean it exactly. It seemed like an old army plane. I mean, oh my, and Coach, no one was saying a word. Like
right.
Literally, we just land this freaking plane, man.
That's it. Well, let me ask you this. We'll pivot because I'll be completely candid with you. This is the most enjoyable hour that I've spent in a really, really long time. So thank you, first of all.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, you guys.
I mean, this has been amazing. And for all of you who watch the show, this is why we do it. You guys need to understand what this business is about. The good and also the bad. The good and the bad. And the good is this, Vince, that you've worked with all of the biggest stars in the world, period, end of story. When you think of your Mount Rushmore, the four guys that had it all, that the reason, not the fans go, "Oh, he had the most merch," or, none of that. When you look at the top four in your mind, with your experience, who are they?
Wow, that is so hard. That is so hard. I will always say this, bro. I will always say this, and we've had our differences over the years, and I don't have an ill will bone in my body towards him. Bro, I was there for the rise of Hulk Hogan. And bro, I am sorry, man. You could talk about Rock, you could talk about Austin, you could talk about all these guys. Hulk Hogan put professional wrestling on the map. He made it cool, pop culture, the crossover with MTV, the movies, the recognizable face. He did more. He did as much for professional wrestling as Vince McMahon did, without a shadow of a doubt. And bro, I worked with Austin. I worked with The Rock. I worked with Taker. I worked with all of them. I'm sorry, bro. Hulk Hogan always will be at the top of that mountain for me. Like, no question about it. The other one, bro, I would throw on there is just because, even as a fan, he was my favorite and the most charismatic character there ever will be. There will never be another like him. Was Savage, no doubt. No doubt. One of my greatest memories was, I swear to God, Coach, when I got promoted to magazine editor, the first thing I did was, bro, I am going to do an up close and personal piece on Randy Savage. I flew up, bro, to Treasure Island. That's where Savage lived. Bro, he brought me over to meet Angelo and his mother and the whole Poffo family. I had dinner with them. Far and away, bro, one of my greatest experiences in the business. Nobody better than him. But when it comes to character, work, the all-around package, nobody better. And I would have to say, bro, and only because I worked with them longer, because you've got your Flairs, you got your Dusties, you got your Brunos, you got all these people. But I got to put Rock and Austin on there on even ground. Even Cena, bro. That was my one regret. I never got to work with that guy. I really wish I could have got to work with that guy. I never got to work with him. But just because I worked with Rock and Austin for so long, I would round it out with them.
Those are four solid. Solid. I traveled with Cena for 6 to 8 months, and I think what I have forgotten, Vince, and you probably are reminded of this more times now, is I almost didn't do this show because I forgot my place in wrestling history. Everybody had been like, oh, you left. You're this ESPN guy now. And I was there for 15 years. I was there with Cena, with Rock, with all those guys. And now that I look back on it and we have these conversations, it's amazing to me. And Cena's one of those guys. And now that he's announced his retirement, do you like the fact that instead of just saying this is the date, that we're going to get an entire year of matches, storylines, potentially a 17th world championship? And to me, next year could be the biggest year financially the business has ever seen because of that. Do you agree?
I do agree, Coach. And here's the thing that people don't understand, bro. And I try to tell them till I'm blue in the face. Bro, we're talking about two different things here, okay? We're talking about the show and we're talking about creative. And then you've got the business side of the WWE. Bro, the WWE knows how to make money better than anybody. Anybody, bro. Their branding of WrestleMania over the years, bro. That's McDonald's. It's the Super Bowl, bro. The deals with Saudi Arabia, the licensing agreements, the money they know how to print, second to none. I give Nick Khan all the credit in the world. That's not what I'm talking about, bro. It's two completely different things. So, Coach, from a business point of view, that is an absolute great way to map it out. We're going to have the last year of the John Cena tour. These are the towns we're going to, and we are going to make a boatload of money. So from a business point of view, I think that is absolutely brilliant. Now, how they use them, that's a totally different story.
See, that's what Tommy and I were talking about, because there's always these underlying, this guy didn't get along with this guy. And when Rock came back for those 3 months, I kept saying, I was like, people don't understand. These two guys hate each other. This whole, hey, bro, hey, I love that segment. Triple H is never like Rock. When I did the segment with Eugene in 06, one of the greatest segments, I remember we had 12 minutes. And Rock came back. We snuck him in. Nobody knew he was there. Triple H had the crossover. And I remember going, Rock, this feels longer than 12 minutes. He goes, two things, Coach. A, what have I always taught you? If it's great, there's nothing Vince can say. B, Triple H is on the crossover. The longer we go, the shorter his match is going to be. He openly, after years, wanted to screw Triple H over. So now we're supposed to believe all these years later that they're buddy?
Bro, I have made the prediction, Coach. I have made the prediction that by the end of 2025, Triple H will no longer be with that company for the exact reason that you've said. Bro, Tommy, wrestlers do not forget. And let me tell you how I know that, Coach. This is why wrestlers can never write television. This is why.
You're right.
I wrote television with Dusty, with Nash, with Jarrett. I wrote television with wrestlers. Bro, they never forgot the heat they had with somebody 10 years ago, 20. Yeah. They never forget. Rock has not forgotten. And let me tell you something, bro. When you have The Rock working for that company, and we know Rock and Ari Emanuel go way, way back, and Rock's got a list of his people, why do we need Triple H anymore?
I don't disagree.
It's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
You look at that documentary, right? He bullied that whole documentary, man. It made Triple H look like a puppy dog, and I said that to Coach. And the other thing was, where was Roman in that whole documentary? We never saw him at all in that thing. And it was supposed to be about Roman and Cody. And then Rock comes in. He gets $30 million, right? Now he's part of TKO. Guess who's going to be the boss? Who was the boss of the documentary, Coach, right? It was Rock.
There's a reason. It was 3. I mean, it was supposed to come out the next week.
Yeah.
Why do you think it took 3 months?
Because he approved it.
They had to edit it.
Yeah, that thing got totally I'm in TV. I know that whole show got re-edited, man.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Wrestlers never forget. I'm telling you, bro. And when you've got Rock there, and Rock has somebody in place for every position in that company, what do you need a Triple H there for?
Well, that's what they're doing now, Vince. All my old friends are gone. John Porco's gone. Steve Rubin just got let go. You don't see any TKO UFC people going. It's all WWE people.
Yep.
So the model is being cast, right?
Yep.
And Kevin knew once Vince stepped down, Kevin was not reporting to Nick Khan.
Yes.
We know Kevin. Kevin only reported to one person all his life.
Yep.
That was Vince McMahon.
Yep.
Now, was Kevin hard to work for? Absolutely. But he was good at what he did, and he took care of you if you worked hard. And that's what I always said about Kevin. Was he easy? Not at all. Would he cuss you out on headset? Yeah. So you don't take it fucking personal. We all knew Kevin was not staying with Nick and Ari and reporting to them. Are you fucking kidding me? He had enough money anyway, and he tapped out. So that's the way it goes. And the model's being cast right now.
Yep.
Vince.
I agree with you 1,000%. 1,000%. And they need to reach that next level by getting rid of the wrestling people. I'm sorry, bro. The Pritchards and the Hayeses and the Heymans and all that carny bullshit, bro. And what does The Rock know? He knows people in entertainment. Ari knows everybody in entertainment. Who do you think brought in Bad Bunny? Who do you think brought in Logan Paul, bro? That's what those guys did. And, bro, quite frankly, it needs to go in that direction if they ever want to bring a mass audience back. And when I talk about mass audience, Tommy, I will never forget this as long as I live, man. We were taping SmackDown on a Tuesday, and I was having a conversation with Vince, and Kevin Dunn walks into the conversation, and Kevin Dunn looks at me and Vince, and he goes, "Guys, I never in my life thought I would see the day where 10 million people were watching wrestling on a Monday." 10 million people, coach. 10 million. When's the last time they did 2 million people on Raw? When's the last time they did 2 million people?
That's what I was going to say. There's a big difference between 6 and 4 and 4 and 2. Big difference.
You're right.
You know, part of their business plan is to be on Netflix, which is now 80% of the world, and to take away all the international deals and just make it one big thing and be around the world, and then say we get 10 million people again, right?
Exactly.
That's what they're going to try to do.
So what does it do to all the international? I worked in international. I did it for over 25 years. I was a senior director when I left there. We had all these big deals with England and Fox Sports and all that. That's all gone with Netflix because they have the rights to Raw. So you cannot air Raw in England unless it's on Netflix. So now what happens to the people that work for that company, and we re-edit those shows 10 times over for all these countries of Raw. Yeah. It goes away because so now Netflix has it. So
I'm sorry, Tommy. Let me ask you this, Vince. Coach. You say what needs to happen, and I think we all agree. But the one thing over the years, the really smart people, like if they listen to this conversation and don't get offended instead of just listening, because I hate when people go, "Oh, he said something negative about." Listen to the conversation. Do you think they'll ever put their egos aside and say, we need to make wholesale changes? It's not just about how much money we make, but about the longevity of the popularity of the actual shows.
Absolutely not. Because what they did, coach, 1,000%, bro, they bastardized the product when Raw went 3 hours. Period. End of story. They give us the paycheck. How many zeros? And they bastardized the product, and they didn't care. They didn't care because if they cared and realized how bad the product had gotten, bro, do they really need the money now for that third hour? Do they really need the money now for that third hour? But no, bro, they got greedy, knowing damn well this show's going to be watered down. We're going to water down the product. We're going to bastardize the product to take the almighty buck. So absolutely not. They will take money over the integrity of the product every day of the week.
Whoa, Vince, I got to stop you right there. Are you telling me that we don't need a 3-segment Jey Uso against Dirty Dom match on Monday Night? Is that what you're trying to tell me,
Coach?
Vince?
What about this? What about this, Tommy? The heavyweight champion of the world is not in the main event. Sami Zayn is. So the Intercontinental title is now more important than the world title. Woo.
Crazy. Vince, we're going to do this again, but I have one last question, absolutely. And you've been so incredibly generous with your time.
Thank you, Vince.
Oh, so thank you, Tommy. Great to see you, man. Great to see that face, Tommy. Great to see that.
Let me ask you one more question. 2024, the three of us never could have imagined we'd spend this time together, and it's been unbelievably, probably cathartic for all of us. But if you had today, and you had 1997 Vince Russo sitting right there that you could talk to, what would you say to him?
Oh, wow, man. I would just say, bro, I don't think people realize this, Coach. You said you were with the WWE 15 years.
Tommy, how long? A total of
30.
Yeah.
How many, Tommy?
32.
Okay. Bro, I was with the WWE for less than 5 years.
Wow.
I didn't even get the clock, Tommy. I was close to getting the 5-year clock. I didn't get the damn clock. Yeah, I didn't get the clock. I was short of the clock. But man, bro, it's what I said earlier in the show. Now, bro, Coach, the minute I went to WCW, TNA, the minute I went to WCW, it became a job. I understood it was a job, and I just wanted to go to work every single day and do the best job that I could. The 5 years, bro, at the WWE, which were probably the 5 most important years in the life of my kids, the job was the priority. There's no question about that. And you know what the sad thing is, Coach? I don't know. I kind of feel like you and Tommy are in the same position I'm in. Coach, it had nothing to do with the money. It was never about, I was never the guy, Tommy, that bought the big house and that bought the new car. Bro, I drive a 2000 Jeep. 2000 Jeep. I was never that guy. But what it was with me, Coach, is the challenge of myself. The challenge of myself that this week's show is going to be better than next week. And more people are going to watch this week than last week. It was always the goals I set before myself. And I made that a priority at the expense of my family. I mean, guys, come on. You know, Coach, you know, Tommy, how many guys and gals in this business get divorced? It's
way more than half. Yeah.
It's a miracle that during that time, I've been married 42 years now. It's a miracle that during that time that did not happen, because my job was clearly the priority. And I would say to anybody watching this show, bro, a job is a means to support your family, the people you love, and those that depend upon you. That's why I swear to God, bro, I do a show on Russo's brand every week, Coach and Tommy. It's called Castrating the Marks. And what it is it's all these dirt sheet writers, the Meltzers and the Sean Sapps and all these people where wrestling is their entire life. 24/7. And you know what I say, Coach? Here's what I say. Bro, when you're putting all your time and energy into something that does not matter, you are neglecting the things that do. Mm-hmm. Without professional wrestling in the big scheme of things, guys, does not matter. It is a form of entertainment. That's all it is, bro. You got your favorite band, you got your favorite sports team. It is a form of entertainment. It means nothing. But there are so many people out there that have made it their entire being, bro, 24/7. And like I said, man, if all your attention is going to something that means nothing, you are neglecting the things that matter. That's what I would tell myself today.
And that is a great way to end it.
Yep.
That's what I get criticized the most. Oh, you don't live wrestling, coach. This is, and I thank you. Thank you for complimenting me. I appreciate that.
Right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Vince, I'm telling you right now, I feel like we've kind of come back together, and there's only a few of us that are doing this now that truly know what we're talking about, but are good people. If you ever need us for anything, you call us,
Right.
and we can't wait to have you back, because this is what we're doing to enjoy ourselves and to take care of our families in the long play. But thank you sincerely from the bottom of our hearts, because this has been awesome. So thank you.
Oh, no, thank you guys for having me, man. When I saw you guys wanted me, I was like, in a minute. I mean, anything I could do. Because here's the problem with what we do, bro. Here's the problem. And this is what people don't understand, and it drives me nuts. There are two things. First of all, you've got a lot of people, a lot of our colleagues that are doing what we're doing. But what a lot of people don't understand is, bro, they're still in the wrestling bubble. They're still playing characters, bro. They're playing characters. I'm not, my character died the day I left TNA in 2012. That I went in the Vince Russo business in 2012. And here's a second thing, Coach and Tommy, that people don't understand. There are a lot of our colleagues, bro, and they're never going to come on here, and they're never going to tell you the truth, and they're going to tell you, their play on things. And why, bro? That one last run. Because the WWE is going to call me. I can't say nothing bad about them, bro. I've got to walk a tightrope. I can't say anything bad about Tony Khan, bro, because I got that one. So what do, bro? They don't say how they really feel. They walk the tightrope, bro. And again, they're burying the people they want to bury. They're still in character. You know, Jim Cornette still talks about me on a daily basis. And I'm like, man, bro, if you still want to be handcuffed to that business at 60 years old, God bless you, bro. Like, God bless you, man.
Yeah.
What a great perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you have enjoyed this. The one and only Vince Russo right here on Behind the Turnbuckle. Tommy, I got to be honest with you. That was collectively 90 minutes with a man who was in charge of writing for Monday Night Raw, when Austin Rock, all that, WCW, TNA, the things I learned, and maybe a little cathartic for me too, because we spent so much time inside this business. What was your biggest takeaway from the last two episodes?
My biggest takeaway from Russo's interview was how in depth he gets into things. And, you know, sometimes he regretted some things that he did about with his family and stuff like that. But man, he is just a wealth of energy and knowledge, and knowing how he knows how to write a show, Coach. That's the way you write TV. And he was on top of the world, Coach. And he walked out on WWE, and he went to WCW, and he went to TNA. But you know what? He's his own man today, and he does what he wants to do, and he does it the right way.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is, and it's very hard to do, especially when you're young in your life, to put your family first and sometimes put your foot down with your employer, whoever that might be, especially difficult when it's Vince McMahon. But I think we all agree, probably every single person watching this says, you know what? I've done that with my career before. And moving forward, hopefully, you know, we don't do it again. My other takeaway is make it make sense. when you watch shows right now, it's very cookie cutter and it doesn't always make sense. And that should be where we start. And then the average viewer, not the wrestling fan, they're always going to watch. Right. The average viewer that may watch, oh, okay, this, you know, if I watch a movie, this makes sense that this equals this equals this. That doesn't always happen on these shows because, quite frankly, Tommy, they're just trying to churn out 104 episodes a year with the two shows. And it's hard to do. It's hard to do.
Yep.
What an amazing, amazing conversation. Coming up next week for all of you BTT Plus members, our very first watch along. We're going to be doing SummerSlam live. We're going to be talking about it as it's happening in real life. And also, we've got a brand new episode of BTT. But for now, Tommy, I'm exhausted. I am exhausted. He is Big Tommy C. I'm the coach. Thanks for hanging out with us right here on Behind the Turnbuckle.
Welcome to your life.
There's nothing a retired governor can do, but a president, now he can do a thing or two.
Every